Every other day in the wild is an unpredictable race of survival for the animals. But even when life is impossible, some of them pull through. Fatal injuries, genetic mutations, or severe outcomes of drastic fights. Here we have a list of animals who defied all the odds and survived the impossible. Hole in seagull's neck. I didn't know holes in the neck were a thing until I saw these animals. I mean, at first I saw this seagull perfectly normal, but once it moved a bit towards the camera, I saw this. A freaking hole in its neck. Surely seagulls are known to get stuck in unpleasant situations, and this one did too. It definitely had a deadly fight. It was desperately trying to eat something, but it would fall out of a big hole in its neck. Well, it clearly has a leak, and he survived, which was surprising for me. So I searched a bit more and I found a whole lot of unbelievable animals who survived similar injuries. Giraffe? Check. Cow? Check. Seagull? Check! And all of them had this whole story about them. The case of the giraffe was particularly intriguing. No one knows how it happened to him. I mean, who is tall enough in the animal world to puncture this giraffe in its cheek? Surely, another giraffe. Okay, what are these animals up to, and how are they managing to walk out of such accidents? This poor cow also had a hole in its neck. It couldn't quench its thirst because the water kept falling out of a hole in its neck. Elephant with 3 legs. This is Vatomi, a young elephant seen surviving in the vast jungles of Africa. Part of a massive herd, the elephant walking with the half-cut leg is telling its miserable story. Researchers believe the elephant may have lost its leg due to a snare, or it could have happened due to a predatory attack. But whatever may be the case, it ended up with the calf losing a leg. But where survival in such cases is quite tough. The only reason this one did is because it is loved and cared for by the rest of the herd. Bloated belly. This poor puppy with a weird condition was found in the street. She was in a lot of pain because her belly was really bloated and she could not even move. The abnormal shape of the belly almost made her look like some alien. Some thought she was pregnant and might be carrying a lot of babies. But the abnormally big size and the young age of the puppy suggested that it was something else. After a medical diagnostic, it was found that she had a lot of toxic fluid buildup in her body. Although this toxin could end up taking the dog's life, thankfully some kind-hearted people took her to a vet and she got rid of this painful illness. Of all the animals who survive in the wild, deer have the worst luck among them. The situation doesn't matter. If it ends up in the deer hurting themselves, count them in. Here, a trail camera captured a buck walking casually in the wilds with a wounded back. It probably got itself into a fight with a wild predator or ditched a brutal attack. Whatever may be the case, the wounded back is telling the tale of deer's misery. But not always suffering. Sometimes their dumb luck actually works, as it did here when a deer suffering from chronic waist disease was spotted by a group of wildlife workers who treated it before it went into the wild again. Headless chicken. Can you imagine someone surviving after getting their head cut off? Well, as impossible as it seems, this chicken survived the exact same thing. Meet Mike, the headless chicken. It was born in 1945 in Colorado. It was initially born with a head, and there was no problem there. It was beheaded with several other chickens for being cooked. But to the owner's surprise, it was still pretty alive. This chicken simply didn't plan on dying. In fact, Mike lived for nearly 18 months without the head. According to some scientists, Mike was able to pull off this miracle because his brain stem was still intact. Due to this mind-boggling survival, he got very popular and attracted many people. Lioness with a broken back. Food is a matter of life and death in the wild, and when it comes to lions, well, they don't really appreciate company. But this lioness had to learn this the hard way. She spotted a lion feeding off a freshly caught prey and made a failed scavenging attempt, because as soon as he suspects the lioness, he attacks her furiously. Even though the attack was deadly, the lioness still managed to defend herself by damaging the opponent's eye. At the end of the fight, the lioness was left with a broken back and hard time for survival in the wild. Badly injured hyena. Sometimes even being an apex predator cannot spare you from the upcoming disasters. Just like this hyena who had to walk on his only front 2 legs because of a broken back. It didn't agree with giving up on its life despite being paraplegic. This was not all from the hyena's miseries. It even managed to survive a brutal attack, and after 9 months, it was again seen walking in the same way. This shows how resilient it is. Surviving with a paralyzing injury for this long in the wild is not a small thing. Leopard versus porcupine. This leopard is facing severe pain. And no, these are not some thorns from a cactus. The leopard probably thought that the small porcupine would be an easy prey. But the porcupine took it in his hands to prove him wrong. The leopard can be seen trying to wrap his paws around the porcupine, but he simply moves in a diagonal way to the leopard and takes out his quills. The leopard was left in a miserable condition because it simply could not give up trying to have a meal. Later, it just went away in a bush trying to take out all the quills left by a potential meal. Badly injured zebra. The life of a zebra is not easy. They are always on the menu of several deadly predators. We don't know what tragedy happened to it, but it looks like it was brutally attacked by a ferocious predator, and it did its best in turning this poor zebra into a delicious meal. All the skin from his backside was torn apart, leaving the inside parts of body exposed. Honestly, it looks like he won't be able to take it for too long. But on the other hand, this zebra clearly survived a deadly fight and got out of it in one piece. Well, almost. 2-legged cow. Cows can grow pretty big and weigh a lot, and this is why 4 legs can be pretty helpful in carrying that weight. But this baby cow, born in Indonesia with only 2 legs, shocked everyone by its peculiar features. And even though in most cases such cows expire almost instantly, this one decided to adopt a unique gait and learn to walk on 2 legs. The cow proved that where there is a will, there's a way. A clear example of no matter how tough life gets, you can always get back up. Starving polar bear. Every person knows polar bears as fat and strong white fur balls, but after seeing this one, you won't believe your eyes. This polar bear was seen walking on dry land, far from its natural habitat. But what made it stand out was its frail appearance due to prolonged starvation. This giant normally needs a lot of food to keep its big body working properly. But harmful environmental activities led to climate change. This polar bear was not able to get a fair amount of food to survive. We don't know how long it can keep on living like this, but it seems as if it has a strong will to survive, even in these harsh conditions. Baby seal stuck in wire. This baby seal was found by a group of rescuers, and it could not walk properly. They found that a metal wire had a strong grip on the pup and made it really hard for it to move. The wire had gotten so tight that it had pierced its skin and put cuts on its body. Luckily, the rescuers were successful in taking off the wire. Though admired by everyone, sadly, these animals are facing severe problems because of our landfill pollution. And this one had also encountered this deadly situation because of the same reason. It is astonishing how it still managed to survive in the wild. 2-legged goat. Defying all the odds, this young goat is surviving the impossible. It was born in southwest China. Although the farmers expected a normal delivery, the baby was born deformed. It was a healthy baby with only 1 mutation. The goat was born with only 2 legs. This condition is considered quite rare in domestic animals. Experts believe this might have happened due to an injury that the mother has faced before giving birth. Despite facing several challenges following its rare birth, it managed to balance on its 4 legs, and surprisingly, it is living a healthy life.